Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Josia, board certified physician and love and dating coach for women professionals just like you. Today, before we continue, I would ask you to subscribe, like, and comment about the video once you get through it, okay? And I also recommend that you share the video with someone that you know who's a high achieving professional woman, or physician, lawyer, doctor, CEO, what have you, who's looking for love. All right. So let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about 3 ways that prayer can change your dating life. All right. And before we get into it some more, we're going to get into what prayer is. Now, before I even get to what prayer is, first of all, I'm not here to push any particular religion or denomination or anything, but I do have a set of assumptions, and hopefully you have them too. My first assumption is that there is a God, all right? That there's a creator of the universe, that there is a intelligent source, there is a unspeakable something that connects all of us, all right? My other assumption is that prayer is me or you talking to God. And the other side of that coin is that meditation is us listening to God. So you have to have both sides. And ultimately, it's all about connection and relationship with that creator. All right? So let's get into that. And then I have a few more assumptions before we continue. The continued assumptions is that God is a God of abundance and expansion. God is a God who is loving and wants the best for us, and that we're here on earth on purpose and for a purpose. And so, lining up with that is what's going to bring us joy, fulfillment, and peace. All right. So, now let's get into some of these reasons why prayer can really up your dating game. Okay. The first thing is that prayer changes you. Now, when I say it changes you, I'm saying that when you are thinking of all the assumptions we just laid out, when you are in the presence of God and talking, you are going to then bring up the things that have been challenging for you. All right. We're not coming before God out of desperation, although there might be some past hurts, some resentment, right? Obviously, desire for partnership, otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this. But the real secret is that the prayer doesn't change God, it changes you to then line up and recognize what's in you that needs to be worked on or what needs to be amplified even more. So let's say you are someone who's a cynical person when it comes to dating. You're saying that there's pee in a dating pool. Prayer time and connection can show you where are the opportunities and situations where you might not have tended to your pool, allowing for pee to happen. So you probably seen my video. I've shared this before where I fired the person who worked on my pool, and I went ahead and didn't do anything to the pool for a few weeks, and it went from clear to yellow and green. And that was because I didn't maintain my pool. So we want to change out of the saying that there's pee in a dating pool as opposed to are we maintaining our pool to keep it fresh and clean. So in that place of prayer, that's where that which may come up to the surface. Okay. And I also want to emphasize, if you haven't seen this video before, go back and also watch my video about your superpower, your secret hidden power as a woman when it comes to dating, which is your intuition, also known as your gut feeling, your conscience, your Holy Spirit. So connecting that with prayer will really put you in places and spaces to align you to find the partner who is meant for you, and not just to meet and have dates, but also to grow and nurture a lasting, loving relationship. All right. So, with also the changes that can happen, if you are a person who has doubts, now we're going to start expressing faith. If you're someone who's anxious, now we're going to start expressing peace, and having this time dedicated in prayer can help bring those things to surface and help us to work towards the things that we want to have in our life and have more of in our life. And if you are someone who's been hurt from previous dating experiences, I can tell you I've been hurt many, many times. This will allow you to then heal from those hurts in those times of prayer and to allow space for love to come back in again. Because we cannot go into a dating opportunity, have the desire to date, but we haven't healed from those past hurts. Okay. And it changes you. So that also might mean that what might come up in prayer is, hey, I need to go to therapy, or I need to delete some numbers out of my phone, or I might need to practice daily speaking positive to myself, talking to myself as my own best cheerleader instead of my own worst critic. So that's how prayer can change you. And that's just scratching the surface of it. All right. Now, the second way that prayer can change you is that it changes the things around you. And so a lot of different faiths understand this principle. All right. You might even see it as, make a love spell, or do this and do that and make this sacrifice and this thing will happen. So there is an element in different cultures and different faith walks that understand that intentional connection to God can cause changes that are outside of us, that are in the spiritual, because the physical is what we're limited to, right? Our five senses versus what's outside of us. So some examples of that can be what we call coincidences, where you see that there are similar patterns or things happening and showing up in your life. It's not by accident. It's changing the things around you, and you're becoming more aware of that because of the time you spent in prayer. It also will lead you to attract the right kind of people. When you are a person of prayer, and prayer is part of your daily regimen, then you will also attract people who are going to support you on your journey to finding love. You're going to, not just create an environment and supportive network of people, but also to attract the right kind of guy. Because as you are a person of prayer, your life will change, right? You're no longer cynical. You're no longer doubtful. You're no longer hurting. You are open to the expectation. You are joyful. You are loving to be around. You are peaceful. That's going to attract the right partner into your life. It's going to attract the right friends and support to help nurture that relationship. On the flip side, when you pray, you also will repel certain people. This is not to say you make an announcement, hey, I'm praying, and then they kind of, okay, great, I think we should end our friendship. But what will happen is that some things that may have interested you no longer interest you. You're no longer interested to be around the women who are complaining there's pee in a dating pool, or that there are no good men out there, or all the negative things that they might be saying, or it's hopeless, and so on. You might no longer be interested in being around the presence of people who are putting you down, okay, even apart from the dating realm. You might also, they may not be interested in being around you because you have changed. And that's okay. It might even be your own family. It could be your mother. It could be your sister. It could be your aunt. It could be colleagues. So as you are, well, I'm saying colleagues, I kind of hesitated because obviously if you work with them, you still work with them. You're going to keep it professional, right? But maybe you're not going out to happy hour with them or to events after hours. So you're keeping a distance because you are changing, and the things around you are changing because of what's happening in your prayer time. What's happening in the prayer time is changing things in the supernatural, in the spiritual realm, outside of that physical realm. All right. The third thing that prayer does is that it changes your dating life. And that makes sense because everything builds on itself. As you are changing, as we said in the first reason, and the environment around you changes, it's only natural to conclude that your dating experience is going to change as well. When you go on dates, you're going to be more open and more receptive. Maybe you were guarded before. Maybe you were desperate before, and now you have no problem saying no to a date because you realize you're not a good fit. Or you are not going to accept a text message at 11 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning because you've set boundaries around the times of communication with someone who is not your partner and doesn't have privilege or access to you outside of normal business hours. Okay? So it's going to change your dating experience. You're also, again, tying into that previous video about being connected to the Holy Spirit, connected to your intuition. You're then going to be more mindful and aware in the dating experience. Should I continue dating this person? Is this a good fit? Is it somewhere where it's time to end it and say we're no longer, this is not a good fit, and make peace with that? So your dating experience will change, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. And then the last thing, I know I said 3, but I'm going to throw a bonus one in, is that prayer changes your life. When you step back and recognize and realize and reflect that when you are praying, you are back to our assumptions at the beginning of the video, you are talking to the creator of everything, the one who makes sure that your heart is beating, that the electrical impulse is going from the SA node to the AV node, and those atria and ventricles are contracting, that those adrenals are putting out the right amount of hormones, that thyroid is working, those lungs are working, the kidneys are functioning and filtering, that you can breathe, that you can move, and those muscles and bones are in sync and alignment. The neural impulses are going through your body. That's just me geeking out just on the human body as a physician. But when you think about the atmosphere having the right percentage of nitrogen and oxygen to breathe, the sun is in the right place, 1 inch closer, the earth would burn, 1 inch away, the earth would freeze. The moon is in the right place for the tides. The harvest has a season for when plants should grow. When you start realizing you're in the presence of the creator of all of that, you can't help but have a different life. You can't help but see possibilities. You can't help but smile like I'm smiling right now and realize that there is hope, that there is opportunity, that yes, things can change. That yes, even if I've been divorced, I can find love again. Even if I've been widowed, I can find love again. Even if I've been hurt, if I have the desire in me, there is someone there for me. It just expands beyond your dating. It expands beyond that relationship that you're building. It expands into how you show up at work, how you show up with your friends, how you show up with your family. If you have kids, how you show up with your kids. And more importantly, how you show up with yourself. Because the one person who goes everywhere you go is you. So prayer changes your whole entire life. When you spend that time of talking and listening, remember the 2 sides of prayer and meditation, and you recognize that this creator God, you don't need an appointment, you don't need a person to call a person to get you on the calendar. This is not a political dignitary, a sports athlete, a movie celebrity that you are trying to spend time with or grab a quick cup of coffee with, but that is always available to you. It just opens the opportunities and possibilities for what can happen. And so let that encourage you. Prayer truly is the foundational secret power when it comes to dating and to finding your partner and to have a love that is real, that can endure arguments and differences, that can go through the good and the hard times. All right? Let me know in the comments, how did you view prayer before this video? And how do you view it now? All right? I hope this works for you. I will be praying for you that it does. And I'll see you next time.